Right, this is me making bread. This is a weight of flour, this is a weight of Bigga, which is basically a starter yeast, which starter dough, which you can find out about on the internet. And that's weight of flour, weight of Bigga, same. A third of that combined weight as water with a bit of olive oil in it. So let's get going. We're going to mix it all up. In our mixer, we've previously put 5 spoons of milk, warm milk, and a teaspoon of active yeast. So to that we're going to mix all these other things. Here we go. Get the water and the oil and a Bigga. And for this you need a spatula or something, even though I did oil the bowl. So let's get that in. The Bigga, by the way, you leave it 24 hours to kind of sort itself out, and it triples at least in size overnight, and then obviously it sinks when it's done. So get all that in there. So that's the Bigga. So now, according to the old instructions, I'll put that there. According to the old instructions, we mix this with the paddle in a few minutes on medium. While adding the flour. So this bread is ciabatta, my interpretation of ciabatta. It's a very wet dough you end up with. As you can probably see, this is a very wet dough. Mixed it for a little while with the paddle, now I'm going to change it for the dough hook. So we've got the paddle out, put the dough hook in. It's a bit of a funny mix of this. Saves you a bit of work that. Anyway, I'm just going to use a spatula to bring it all down off the sides and off the bottom, and you can see this does not look like bread dough. But persevere, don't be tempted to add more flour. Anyway, so we had 2 or 3 minutes with a paddle. Similar amount, low to medium, and the dough hook. And come back when that's done. Well, as you can probably guess, oh yeah, forgot to turn the microphone on for this bit, so it's had a bit with the dough hook. So we'll clean it up and chuck that in the washing up. I'm chattering away there, I'm sure. Anyway, so you can see that texture, nothing like bread dough, way too wet, but that's good, that's what we expect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to knead it, not for very long. So watch this, we can tip it out onto a very well floured table. Doesn't look like bread. Anyway. And what you do, some people say you can knead this with your hands if you wet your hands, but I find that is just not possible. So I use a couple of pastry scrapers, or one, mostly one, two to pick it up and move it around, one for the kneading bit. And kneading is stretching, so what we're going to do is we're going to chuck it around on the floured board. I'm not going to add any more flour, just the flour that's on the board. Chuck it around with this scraper, the white plastic thing. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe a bit longer if you've got the patience. I haven't. So there you go, look, wet sticky mess, not at all like bread dough. Move it around, keep cleaning your scrapers up. See, now I've reverted to just the one scraper really, and I'm stretching it, pushing it down, stretching it, pushing it down, stretching it, keeping it, trying to keep it tidy on the table, don't let it get on the floor. First 3 times I made this, I tried to knead this with my fingers. Very frustrating, very, very frustrating. So anyway, scrapers work fine for me. So we'll just carry on watching this for a while. So as you can see, very well oiled bowl, kneaded it for all of 5 minutes thereabouts. Now you've got to pick it up. It's easier with 2 scrapers, but as you can see it's a bit of a challenge, but the taste is worth it. So get that. That bowl is very well oiled, because at some point I'm going to have to tip this out and separate it into 2 loaves and put it in the baking sheets. So very well oiled, and I'm reusing a bit of cling film I was using for the Bigga. So Yorkshire thrift, save on cling film. I'm chattering away there, I expect. Anyhow, so that's that. Go and grab your cling film. And I think this first of 2
provings is we leave it under cling film for about an hour, maybe an hour and a quarter, maybe a bit longer, depends how hot it is really and how much yeast you put in. Anyway, that's the first proving, so we'll come back in a little while and see how that's getting on after cleaning up. Well, you're now going to watch a time lapse of the dough rising. Obviously this is taking place over, I can't remember, an hour or so. Anyhow, dough rising. That should do us, pretty much.
Big that. So as you can see, risen at least double its size. I've probably left it too long, to be honest. Anyway, we'll see. So yeah, what this now calls for is separating into however many loaves you think you're going to get out of it. Now, personally, I think I'm going to get 2. These are my bespoke custom baking trays. This is basically silicone shaped around some wire mesh into the shape of a ciabatta. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. So obviously we've got to get this out of here. There's as little stickiness going on as possible. Now remember, we oiled the bowl. Look at that, wobbly, wobbly, wobbly. We oiled the bowl. We oiled the bowl, so it come out relatively easily. Could have been a lot worse. Anyway, there we go. Floury hands, put some flour in the bowl, just get them bits out. Save cleaning it out later in the sink. Anyway, that's that. Now what we've got to do is, basically the recipe calls for you to roll it out into however many loaves you think you're going to make. So that's what we'll do. I reckon we're going to get 2 out of this. I think 6. We started out with a total flour Bigga of about 600 grams. So I'm reckoning 2 300 gram loaves. So got to get this in half. It's very, very, very accurately in half. That's probably about there. About there. So, now I'll do it. One of these down here. Put that in. Okay. And stop it from sticking to the sides, not so much bothered about the bottom. It's a bugger if it sticks to the side because it won't rise as well. Right now, Finish with that, finish with that, finish with that. So there's our 2 loaves. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tidy up a little bit. So I'm going to cover these now with a damp cloth, damp tea towel, for about another hour or so. They're just about double. So, got one there, got one there. Got a damp tea towel. Hallelujah. And it's 10 minutes to 11. Let's double check the other instructions. Where did I put them? Yeah. Oh, there we go. And the instructions say leave it for 1.5 to 2 hours. Those will look flat, unpromising, but no worries, they will rise more in the oven. So 2 hours, so in an hour and a half I'm going to turn the oven on 220, so it's got a good half an hour to get really hot, and then I'm going to put them in for 20-25 minutes, something like that. And I'm going to spray water in the oven for the first 10 minutes, 3-4 times, and we'll see how that goes. We'll come back and have a look at these in an hour or so. Okay, here we are again. I put the oven on about 30 minutes ago. That's to remind me to plug the microphone in. Yes. Let's have a look what we got. Yo! Well, that looks like ciabatta to me. I'm not sure what you think. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, jubbly. Right, so that's now got to go in the oven, which I put on, I say, half an hour ago I put that on. Can I see the oven and that at the same time? Probably not. Oh, there's the oven. Oh, there's the oven. Okay. Let's get those puppies into the oven then. Lovely homemade trays, firm as anything, because they've got that wire. I'm going to put them both on the middle shelf, side by side. Bit of spray. Put the timer on for 10 minutes. Spray them another couple of times between now and then. And then we'll come back and have a look. So a time lapse of bread rising in the oven, being sprayed intermittently. Yeah, well, it's going brown. It's cooking. It's bread. Jubbly. Well, there you go. That looks like 2 loaves of bread to me. Nicely done. Those big bubbles. Okay, well, put them on a cooling thing and then cool for, oh, I don't know, 10-15 minutes I suppose, and then there you go. that's it. How to make ciabatta. What time is it now? 20 past 1 and we're done. I do
and obviously turn the microphone off here. Sort of turn the camera off as well, but the button's a bit dodgy. Sometimes needs 2 presses. Anyway, so that's it. Bread cooked. I can tell you from experience, it's very nice. The sooner you eat it, the better. But it stays in the fridge for a good week, and it's still nice. I made about 300 grams of Bigga, and then I obviously add 300 the same weight of flour, and that's making these 2 loaves. Obviously, if you're always going to put the same weight of flour in as Bigga, and you make your Bigga the day before, that's going to dictate what you end up making. But yeah, very, very, very nice. Thanks for watching.